What's up, everybody? Richard Janvrin from WSN.com back today with another NFL betting video. And today we are taking a look at 5 of the best player props to make for Week 3 of the NFL season. And this week, there's 9 games in total, if we factor in Monday night and Thursday night football, with totals of 45 or less. So the offense could be in high demand this weekend, as there may not be that many points scored. But nonetheless, there's still plenty of player props to go over. And in fact, of these 5 props, we have 2 props for one game, 2 props for another game, and 1 prop by itself. But with that, let's dive on in. We're going to take a look at the first 2 props, which come from the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. This line actually was 6.5 for the Chiefs as of earlier this week, but now it's kind of at that 5.5. So a little bit of money coming in on the Colts, I suppose, there. And first of all, we're going to look at an anytime touchdown. We got Travis Kelce, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Colts have some solid coverage players. They have like Stephon Gilmore, but he's a cornerback. He's going to be covering one of the receivers. When you look at this defense when it comes to covering the tight end, Travis Kelce has a great matchup against Zaire Franklin, who has just not really been that great against tight ends this season, and he's only faced Evan Ingram of the Jacksonville Jaguars and O.J. Howard of the Houston Texans. And so, Travis Kelce by himself is already an uncoverable player, but now you get him in a matchup that's looking great. They're the favorite. The total's over 50 in this one. And I feel like Travis Kelce is a candidate who, if you wanted to, spice up the bet even a little bit more, instead of just an anytime touchdown, if you have a sports book that has, the 2 touchdown capability, you can do that. But again, this one is at minus 140 over at DraftKings, so you lose a little bit of value there with a minus 140 price. But I think that is a great way to go. At the end of the day, we want to win these prop bets, and I think that is the smartest way to go. Next up, we're going to be looking at the quarterback for the Chiefs, and that is Patrick Mahomes. He is plus 106 over at Caesars to go over 2.5 passing touchdowns. And again, they're the favorite in this one. The total's over 50.5, and I think he gets it done. Because to assume, 50.5 points in this one, that would assume that the Chiefs are going to score, upwards of probably 30 in this one. And to get there, I don't see that happening via the run game. If you look at Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Jerick McKinnon, they combine for less than 40 rush attempts as a total unit. So I think that this is going to come via the passing game. Like I said, they have Stephon Gilmore, the Colts, as a cornerback, but the rest of the unit isn't that great. They have Kenny Moore on the other side, who hasn't been really all that great this season. And so I think there's many opportunities here for that to happen. And like we mentioned with the Travis Kelce prop bet, 2 of them could come from him alone. So I really like getting Patrick Mahomes here, one of the best pure passers in the league, at a plus price over 2.5 passing touchdowns at Caesars. So I think that was a great bet, easy one to make. Next up, we're going to go look at the Carolina Panthers hosting the New Orleans Saints. And now this is interesting because this is a game where I don't expect many points to be scored. I think this is going to be kind of a sludgy game. I think the total in this one's at 40.5. That's probably going to go under. But I found this interesting prop over at Caesars. It's a longest pass completion under 33.5 yards, minus 115 odds. That's over at Caesars. And so when I look at this one here, you look at Baker Mayfield, and he hasn't been great this season. But to be fair, if there's any part of the field where he is good, that is passing the ball 20 yards or more downfield. 12.3% of his attempts have come there, and he's completed 4 of 7 passes for 2 touchdowns. So he has been fine. But at 33.5 yards, I don't know. I feel like, is it possible? Sure. But I guess coming against the coverage unit that has guys like Tyrann Mathieu and Marshawn Lattimore, plus the pass rush from the Saints coming in on this offensive line that is kind of bookended by Taylor Moton, who's fine, but then you have Ike Ekwonu at left tackle, who, he's a rookie. He's still improving. I feel like all those things together, I don't really see Mayfield having that same downfield success unless it's like a one-off, random kind of play. But I don't see that happening, especially against this unit. Maybe against the Browns or the Giants it's possible, but against the Saints, I don't see that. So I like his longest completion being under the 33.5, minus 115 at Caesars. And lastly, we're going to be looking at the last two player props here, and they come from the same game. That is the New York Jets against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the first one that we're looking at is good old elite Joe Flacco going under that 0.5 interceptions, plus 105 price over on DraftKings. And here's the thing, like, I get it, Flacco, he's getting close to 40. It's Joe Flacco, people want to meme on him. I totally understand that. But this year he's been really actually pretty good. Like, I mean, he has the one interception, and you could argue that was on him or wasn't on him. If you go back and watch it, it was a play over the middle that was picked off by, I believe, a Ravens linebacker. But as you'll see on that same play, the receiver fell down. So did he throw it because the receiver was open, but he fell down? Or, who knows? That's kind of up for debate. But other than that, he's coming off a game in week 2 where he threw for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns. He hasn't really shown us any reason other than the fact that it's Joe Flacco to maybe expect some turnovers. But then you look at the Bengals, they haven't been great on defense, especially coverage-wise, with Chidobe Awuzie as one of the cornerbacks, and then you also have Jesse Bates back there playing safety as well. But you know who the other cornerback is Eli Apple, who also hasn't been great either. So I don't see Flacco throwing a pick in this one. I think he'll stay clean. And I think that I think this is going to be a good game ultimately for the Bengals to kind of get back on track. But I don't think that comes courtesy of the defense shutting down Flacco and creating turnovers and stuff like that. I still think that Flacco will remain elite for another week here in the 2022 NFL season. And lastly, we're looking at Bengals running back Joe Mixon. I like him to go over the 19.5 carries. That's minus 115 odds over at BetMGM. Like I said, I do think this is a game where the Bengals could, quote-unquote, get right after, 2 showings, to start the year against the Steelers and the Cowboys that have been less than stellar. But with that, Joe Mixon has still been getting plenty of opportunities. I believe he had 27 carries in week 1 and had 19, so that would have been just under this line in week 2. But I think against the Jets, I think that the Jets defense just isn't good enough to kind of contend with what this Bengals offense should be, if that makes sense. There's too many options on this Bengals offense. They have to get going here against the Jets. And even if they don't, as the offense hasn't really been getting going to start this season already, Mixon's still getting plenty of attempts. So that 19.5 number just looks a little bit too low. He gets looks regardless of what the game script is for whatever reason. And now we could argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Is head coach Zach Taylor out of his mind? Who knows? But I still think that this 19.5 carries minus 115, that's a great price for a guy who's averaging 23 carries a game in a game where the Bengals are favorited by 5 points. So you figure, if he's getting these carries already and they've been losing, if they're a 5-point favorite in a leading, that just creates more of a positive game script for him to get those touches, those carries, and go over this number. So there you guys have it. Those are the 5 best props for week 3 of the NFL season. To run through them one more time, we got Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown, or if you can find the 2 touchdowns, that's good too. Patrick Mahomes going over his 2.5 passing touchdowns. We got Baker Mayfield's longest completion under 33.5 yards. We got Joe Flacco under 0.5 interceptions and Joe Mixon over 19.5 carries. And by the way, guys, for all of the sports books that we have mentioned, we have codes down in the description below where if they're available in your state and you don't have an account there already, you can click that link. You can sign up, create an account, and get a welcome bonus exclusive to using our links. So a great way to start your betting career on these new sports books, get a little bit of a bonus, and make some money while doing it. But with that said, that does it for this week's player prop video, and I will see you next week. My name is Richard Jammer. This has been WSN.com's YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know what player props you like this week down in the comments below. But anyways, till the next one, peace.